Okay, friends, here you've seen an engine taken out of my 2015 Nissan Altima S. What happened? Well, let me explain to you. Let me show you first the car it came out of. This is it. Here is the new one. Well, actually, is used, but at one moment when my wife turned it on, let me show you what does it do when you turn on this engine. Okay, watch carefully. What happens when you turn this engine on? Nothing? Nothing is happening. There we go. Watch it carefully. Forward and backwards. Did you see those needles going back? Okay. I'm going to turn it off. Watch it again. Okay. Well, my wife got into the car, and when it was in the movement from right to left, before it got to the left, she put the gear in. She put it into drive. I noticed it made a noise, and from then on, it began to shake. It began to shake and shake and shake. Well, the afternoon of that day, I took the car to a local auto parts. They lent me a tool which you put under the steering wheel, and you look for the check engine, which I had. And when I went back into the store, because I did it myself because of the coronavirus, I did it myself. I took in the tester, and according to what the tester found out, it showed me, they gave me a paper showing me something that looked like this. I don't know what it was. I kind of got scared because of the price, $75. Can you trust a little? Can you trust a little machine? Well, I didn't trust it right away. So I called my dealer, who told me that if I had any problems, I could call him, and if we need any parts, he would get them from Nissan on a discount price. The reason I didn't really pay too much attention to this, okay, is because I didn't know where to get it out from. Later on, I found out that it is somewhere in here. So after I talked to the dealer, he says, take it to my mechanic. He's going to check it out for you and erase your check engine. I said, okay. I took it to his mechanic. I got over there. He says, leave it over here. I'll give it back to you tomorrow. All right, what are you going to do? I had to trust the mechanic. He took out probably his big computer, set it up, and he tells me, you need spark plugs. His machine did not show this instrument, this part, this important part. I'll explain to you in a little while. So I say, how much is it? He says, it's $130. I said to myself, okay, but these 4 spark plugs, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can take them out myself. Why not? I'm not going to pay for labor. So I went to buy the 4 spark plugs. I put them on. But the funny thing here is that when I put in the 4 spark plugs, I turned on the engine, and it was running pretty good. I called my wife. We went to the parkway for a test, came back, everything fine. It was a Friday. Then on Saturday, next day, around 1 o'clock, I took my car for, 2 blocks spin. I went to buy something 2 blocks away. I got there fine. When I bought something, I got into the car. I started the engine and it began shaking again. I came back home. I told my wife, okay, we are back in business again. So now I went looking for a mechanic that was of trust of mine. And he's good, pretty good. We changed an engine to a car about 5-6 years ago. So he came over here and with his helper. And do you see this here? He removed this one when the engine was on. He removed it, unplugged it, and the engine turned off. He put it back in. He took this one out. Nothing happened. It was still shaking. No change. He says, you have to get one of these. Okay. So we went to the dealer because it had to be from the dealer. We bought it, put it in. Nothing changed. It was a waste of money. About $76 of waste. After that, what I did is I bought one of these here, coils, spark plugs, ignition coils. And what I did is I exchanged them to see which one was bad. No one of them was bad. They were all good. Went back to the dealer sent me to another mechanic, an expert. He said, listen, I showed him the picture about this part. He says, you might change this, but it's not going to fix your problem. Because what happened is that the chain jumped a tooth. So that means it was out of time, right? Okay, so he got me scared. He says, you need to change the engine and don't spend any money on it because it's not going to fix it. That is the only problem that you have. Okay, what do you do in my case? I got scared enough. My dealer, I talked to him, he says, listen, you can buy an engine for such and such amount, which, I thought it was very cheap from the junkyard. So from then on, I planned it. I went out and I bought an engine. Another mechanic put it in, very inexpensive, because the other guys wanted from $700 to $1,200, and one of them was $650. I'm not going to tell you how much I pay for this. But now, once my car is running pretty good, very decent, I kept the engine. And what I did is took it apart and try to set up the chain again where it belongs. It belongs to this mark, and it belongs to this mark, and belongs, there's one more spot underneath. I don't know if you see it. The chain goes here, here, and here. The tensor is right here. All this has to be taken apart and put in back together in the right way. How did I know to do that? Well, I look into the famous YouTube. There were other decent guys that showed us how to do that. So I took their advice, and hey, it worked out very good. But the funny thing is that you see here there is a cover that goes all the way up. One, there's a second cover that only covers up to here, and under this spot, it's the oil pan. Let me show you. So it's not just adjust the chain or something. Here we have, this is the front cover. This is the cover that you need to remove in order to get to this. Does this look familiar to you? Well, I talked to my mechanic that removed the engine. I told him, you know what? I think that one of these is a problem. He says, well, there is nothing I can do because you didn't bring him to me from the beginning in order to put my computer and check everything out. I would probably have found out that something was wrong with it if it was. So what I did is I looked into YouTube again, and there was a guy, because my mechanic didn't know how to test this off the car. But there was one guy that, with a video, he showed me that by connecting two wires to the battery, and in here we have, I don't know if you see it, do you see it, two connections? Well, what you do is you touch positive and negative in there, and you will see that there is a cylinder in there. Let me show you right away. There is a cylinder in there. Do you see it? There is a cylinder in there that when you touch these two connections, the cylinder goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And what it does is controls the oil that goes around here. Okay, let me show you again what I'm talking about. This goes here as a second cover, and these three sensors, and they are also named as coils. This is let me see for a second. What did they put the paper? They have a name. They have a name. They're called, in short, I'm going to name to you, VVT solenoid. They're not coils, they are solenoids. And believe it or not, when I was checking them for a purpose, right? I had them off the cover, and the first one that I took and I checked it with the battery, it was dead. The other two, they did a click, 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 but this one or I would say this one, was the beginner of the problem. It was not a chain problem. I did not need an engine, but only to listen to the first advice of the local store. They gave me what was the reason. I must tell you that the way I got so mixed up is because the second time I went to the local store, the second advice they gave me was the gasoline pump. And when I saw the price, over $600, I went out of my mind. So I said, I am in real trouble. I better change the engine. And we go on from there. But again, in order to get to the chain, I had to remove this cover. First, I had to remove this cover, but in order to get there, I had to remove this part, which is on all the way to the left of the engine. This is the tensioner, and this is the funny part. This is the part that holds the oil pan. This is the oil pan. So if we put it upside down, we will see that this goes under there. And if I didn't remove this piece altogether, I will not be able to remove the cover of the chain. This is engineering. I'm not going to say from where. The filter goes here and so on. So you have a good idea how careful you have to be when you check with a mechanic, because not all of them are going to tell you the truth, or maybe they don't know. They begin with here and they end up over there, but they are always in your pocket. Well, I must tell you that I ordered through eBay the solenoid, and I also ordered through eBay the silicone that goes around here in order to close up everything. I received it yesterday, Saturday, and today I'm going to begin, even though it's Sunday, I'm going to cover up everything, and I'm going to put this engine for sale. Maybe I can get some of my money back. I hope it's going to help you out. I hope it's going to make you think. And if you know anybody who has a problem with a 2015 Nissan Altima engine, it's 4 cylinders, as you saw, it's 2.5. Let them know to check, because the funny thing is that one of the people who were on YouTube, they say that this problem could have make changes if I only had changed the oil, because when the oil gets dirty, it clogs up different parts of the engine. And this one here, maybe it's clogged up, it's not burnt, because I saw some spark in there. But if it's clogged up, it's not going to move. If it's not going to move, there isn't going to be any communication with computer, and obviously the engine is not going to run smoothly. So I'm hoping that I'm going to do a good job in order to close up all these things and put it on sale, and have somebody else to enjoy it in his car. I hope you'll enjoy it too.